Hello, my name is Michael, and I'm going to be answering some of the questions that are listed in front of me today. Question number one. In your view, what are some of the biggest challenges faced by new migrants in the UK today? I feel like Brexit is definitely one of the biggest ones. Before we had the referendum in 2015, the migration process was a lot easier, but now it seemed to put a bit more of a barrier on people that are trying to come here, whether it's to start a new life, within their education, work, or just to have a better life for their families. Um, and I feel like it's an ongoing thing and something that is just going to continue to get hard for people that are trying to migrate to the UK just because the UK government are really starting to crack down on their migration laws. So yeah, I feel like it is quite a tedious process, but hopefully it'll get better at some point. Question number two, community solutions. If you could design one project to improve life in your local community, what would it be? I feel like there isn't enough actual programs that are designed to educate people within lower social economic environments or people who come from maybe like a lower socioeconomic background. And what I mean by that is having someone who is relatable come in and speak, whether it's to kids in school, college, etc., about the different avenues they can take post education. I feel like education is definitely good. It's something that people should strive to, better themselves in. But there also needs to be maybe more of a bit of a entrepreneurial or performing arts type of route that, they can be shown just so they know that they, God forbid, if they don't get the best grades in school, that they're still able to pursue other avenues for their own betterment. So yeah. Um, Young people's role, question number three. How can we make sure young people are not just participants, but also leaders in community activities? Yeah, so again, similar to like my last question, I think letting children have a space or young people have a space to be able to actually indulge in these activities. I think sometimes not having like a middle person to kind of bridge the gap between maybe like the new and older generation is something that I feel like could be of a benefit to some of the youngsters. That's something I definitely feel like a lot of my peers and I would have benefited from, when we was younger, just to give us an actual informed um education and also provide us with opportunities to become young leaders within our environment so that we can take, a bit more responsibility on whatever's going on in our areas from a younger age. So yeah. Question number four. If a project works well in one town, how could we make it work in other towns and cities too? I think demographic matching, definitely. So obviously, depending on where you're situated, one demographic, what may be in demand or what there may be a shortage of in, I don't know, the southeast can be different to what it looks like in the northwest. So I think definitely matching and maybe like doing a lot of market research to see what's missing, um, what is needed in those particular areas, and then kind of matching the demographic to suit that environment. So it's like you can take a community project that's been working well in the middle of Wales and take that same community project and put it in, I don't know, North London, but you might need to make subtle changes to see what may work well, somewhere on the coast, they may have, maybe more invested into like nature, etc. But then, if you go to a rural area or urban area, sorry, it might, it might be a little bit less receptive. So yeah, I think just having that space to match the demographics that you're trying to target. Um, Number five, how would you know if a community project is successful? What should be measured? I feel like the engagement in the projects definitely. I feel like if there's something that's being established and you may be getting a good retention of consumers, then that's a positive way to see that okay, people are engaging, but also gaining feedback. Sometimes it's very easy to look at things head on when really you need to look at it from a bird's eye view. So if you have a project which you think was running well in your eyes, you need to ask the people who are indulging if they're really enjoying it. It's like I can attend every summer school class on skateboarding because my mum has told me I have to go rather than sitting at home by myself. Doesn't mean I'm enjoying it, not necessarily, but the point I'm trying to make is, just seeing if how engaged the kids are and if it's something they feel that they can continue to do. Okay, and to move quickly. After this project finishes, how could we keep people motivated and involved? Follow-ups, being able to follow up with them, provide them with future opportunities, which may be at the disposal, and just making them be aware. So yeah, partnerships. How do you think we should work in schools, councils, local groups, and businesses? Again, sending someone who can kind of play that pivot role into a school or these spaces and actually giving them an informed education on the projects or anything that they can get involved in, whether that's in local communities or in a business setting. What qualities are important for someone organizing community projects? Which of these do you think you have? I think definitely being able to be relatable is definitely key. And also good communication is important. And lastly, I'll say active listening. If we're able to listen to some of the problems, then we're able to think of how we can create a solution as well. Yeah. Um, if you could change one thing about the UK to make it a better place for migrants and young people, what would it be? Again, having more cultural celebrations of people who have migrated to the UK and made a contribution to, like what is British culture, because there's a lot of like British Asian, British African, British Caribbean, British Latino culture, which has really shaped the UK. We see it from food and dances and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, just more celebrations for these people, just to let them know that they are appreciated and they are welcome into British society as well.